Hey, quick little intro here. So after spending hours trying to sort out some Airbnb, I found a group of Airbnbs that work well together, bounce, bounce, bounce. And lo and behold, I had problems with one. So made this quick video about how to protect yourself from Airbnb and with 3 simple videos. And it's basically just a long rant of me telling stories, but 3 videos will help protect yourself from Airbnb and Airbnb problems. So if you're interested, thank you. If not, have a great day. Hey, so people drive me nuts. A while back, I was using Airbnb quite a bit as I traveled around, and I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. I learned some lessons the easy way, but I started to pencil out a video series I was thinking about doing. I keep looking at the red, not the camera, sorry. Trying to get better at that. I started penciling out a video series I was thinking about putting together because I learned a lot of tips, tricks, habits, things like that to really protect yourself when you're using Airbnb. And so I'm back to using Airbnb for a minute, and lo and behold, my second booking I tried to make ran into a problem on Airbnb, and the guy's wanting shit. Well, the first one was a guy wanted $50 for a cleaning fee, and ended up being over 2 nights. So the place was only like it was only like 22 or 24 bucks a night. And he wanted $50 for a cleaning fee. So I'm like, no, I'm not paying that. Defeats the whole purpose, right? Just get a better place with a less cleaning fee, right? Then the second one, or the third, it was a third property, but second problem was, sorry, I'm trying to open this water. The third property that had a problem, so I make the booking, I go through and everything checks out, I make the booking, and then, or I request to make the booking, and he sends me, yes, you're accepted, you need to fill out this form. So I punch in and fill out the form, and even just going to the website pissed me off because the website downloads, and they tell you they download a bunch of cookies to your site and they harvest all your cookies. And what it is it's some third-party company who does his data retention, probably for a stiff fee, right? He deals with the government. The government, a lot of governments, they require people to keep records of who stays at their place, right? So this company, and I went through and, read their policy real quickly, and before I, inputted anything, but Airbnb had already auto-populated a bunch of data to their webpage, including my phone number and email address. So not happy about that, because those are the 2 starting points where people screw with you, right? But, they tell me they're going to market to me, they're going to send me emails, they're going to send me promotions, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And I already get enough phone calls and emails and all that crap to drive me nuts. And that's one reason people always give me a hard time for having 2 phones. Well, that's one reason I have 2 phones is Airbnb and social media are on a separate phone, and that phone gets blown up. I get text messages for all kinds of shit. I mean, I even had the Democrats trying to get, or not the Democrats, it was, it's the Democrats, Haley or whatever, a chick that's running against President Trump, trying to get me to send her money. And I was just like, you're kidding me, right? So this third-party company, they, say you can have your data deleted, but it's all work. And there was nowhere in his ad saying I had to use a third party. So he wants to keep, I think it was a $200, no, it wasn't even a $200 booking. It was a $150 booking, and he wants to keep $70 of that. And the booking's 2 weeks out, and, I didn't tie up I mean, I could understand if I waited a week or 2 to, come to this realization, but this all happened within 20 minutes, right? Literally within 20 minutes. And or less, probably within 10 minutes. And to me, it's just not fair. So I turn it all over to Airbnb. We'll see what they say. But there was no disclosure that I have to register with this company. Now, I understand, like, if they want to take a, and I've been forced into this at the last minute. I didn't like it at all. But in Budapest, Airbnb forced me into, you show up. And when you show up, with no disclosure in the site, no disclosure anywhere, they want a high def resolution photo, thing of your passport. Then Airbnb demands it. And it was like that you should have disclosed that shit, a month ago when I made the reservation. Because I'm not a big fan of giving my passport information to just every, Joe Blow that has an Airbnb. And Airbnb already has it. I mean, I had no place to stay. It was the middle of winter, Budapest. I had no other options other than to comply. And, I will never trust Airbnb after that. But, at some point, you have to find something you trust. And you look at Booking.com, they're no better. VRBO is not widespread. So if somebody's got a better option, if somebody wants to disrupt Airbnb, I am all in. Focus on privacy and safety and security, and I am all in, because Airbnb is a horrible platform. It's a horribly managed business, and I can't believe they have the market share they do. But so this guy wants me to sign up for this third party. I'm like, no, I'm not. And what's this big long rant for 6 minutes about? So one of the policies, or one of the habits, tactics I developed because of these problems with Airbnb and hosts is when you rent an Airbnb, you should make 3 videos. So when you're going through and you find the place you want to rent or stay, turn on your screen recorder and do a screen recording of the entire ad, the entire post, whatever you want to call it. Go through and screen record everything, open up everything, get all the pictures, everything that's there. So when you show up and there's a problem, or like here, there's a problem, I have evidence. I can go back and say, hey, look, there's nothing in here that says I have to sign up with this third party and give them all my pertinent information. I mean, I don't know what the government requires, but you remember, when they get your passport, they're getting your date of birth, and they're getting a bunch of other data that makes it you easily identifiable to people trying to steal your information. And then you add a phone number and you add a email address. It makes it real easy to get into your bank accounts that way. Because they'll hack one and then get the other, and then they're in your bank account. Boom, boom, boom. So part of the 2-phone system is one phone. Nobody gets that number but my banks and close friends. And then and same thing with emails, right? So you should have an email that's totally set up and separate for just your critical stuff, your bank, your insurance, things like that. And then a separate phone, email, and all that for your, things like Airbnb, Expedia, all that trivial shit where it's not very safe or secure, because they're just out there giving your information away to everybody. It's just a real pain in the ass to manage. And then you're like, oh, which phone number do I give you? And, how many phone numbers do I need to remember? But so with this case, I have a video of it in the, because what can happen is they can go in there and edit it, and Airbnb can see that, but a lot of times they may or may not, and then it still becomes an issue, right? But if you go in there and you screenshot everything and record everything, especially if the booking is weeks or months out, it makes it real easy. Because one time I had this problem and I just went back to Airbnb and I'm like, hey, here's the videos. Boom, 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 boom. It took like forever to get the videos to upload. But once they were uploaded, Airbnb looked at them and they're like, okay, here's your refund. The shitty part is, and I mentioned this to the guy in the, when we're commenting or we're chatting back and forth, because I try to resolve it with him, and he's like, no, we're following Airbnb's strict policy. I'm like, okay, well, fine. If you want to follow the strict policy, let's follow the strict policy. But, the shitty thing is how much time, energy, and money is he tying up? It's just a hassle. And it's just a pain in the neck and a hassle. And that's one reason I hate Airbnb is, when you go to a hotel, it's much easier. There's no hassle. There's no, if you go to a hotel and it's shitty, you're like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm not paying for this. Give me my money back. And if you have good cause, no matter what their cancellation policy is, they'll give you your money back. And if they don't, it makes for a really good review, right? And then you'll either get your money back or, they'll pay to get the review taken down. But a lot of places in that situation, they'll would rather give you your money back than take the hit on the reviews, especially if it's a legitimate complaint. If it's something trivial, you're not getting any sympathy from me. But if you go back and look at my room walkthroughs, look at the very first one, you'll see a room I got stuck in overnight, and the mold is just insane. And the other frustrating thing is I booked through Expedia expecting some sort of protection, and I got to a place and the hot tub didn't work. It was supposed to have a jacuzzi, didn't work. The air conditioning didn't work. The locks on the door didn't work. And Expedia was like, sorry, we'll call the hotel. I'm like, you're going to call the hotel in a city where there's like 10 hotels and tell them, what? Because they're going to call all the other hotels in the area and, screw me over, right? Expedia was just horrible to deal with in that situation. And so, but again, it is what it is, right? The world isn't going to be perfect. You have to deal with what's out there, and what's out there sucks a lot of times. So how are you going to deal with it? How are you going to react? What's your plan? What happens if you show up to an Airbnb and it's horrible? And that's the thing I don't like about Airbnbs is I don't really ever even think about a backup plan for hotels. But when you make a booking at Airbnb, you got to be ready to spend the night on the street. Because if you go there and you spend one night and it's shitty, you're not going to get any sympathy from Airbnb because they're like, well, you spent the night. Even if it's a 2-week booking, they're going to be like, hey, this is on you. And so you have to be ready to walk away. So the other 2 videos you're going to make when you go to an Airbnb, as soon as you get there, set everything down. And just like I do my room walkthroughs, take your camera and make a video there. Just exactly like I do my room walkthroughs. And then you're going to do that when you leave. Because it's easy for them to say you broke something or this or that, it wasn't clean, right? There's all these fees they can try and hit you with if they're a little less than forthcoming or less than, anyway. It's not always the Airbnb owner, right? Sometimes it's the cleaners they've got, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. And sometimes you break shit, right? And it's on you. But make the video when you arrive, make the video when you leave, and keep it for, I would say 2 to 4 weeks. The reality is I think they have a limited time to file a complaint. But somebody told me once, or file a charge, somebody once told me that they have until the next person rebooks. So, devil's advocate, right? What if you book a place and it's empty for 3 weeks and they're shorting for cash? They can file a charge against you because nobody's booked it. So keep the videos. I would say 2 to 4 weeks at a minimum. And, it's just an added cost to Airbnb, right? In like this time hack, it's an added cost to Airbnb. If I made this reservation at a hotel or anything like that, and within 5 minutes I was trying to cancel it because they didn't adequately display everything up front, all the requirements, then, I have a hard time believing any hotel would, want to keep that much money. It's just unreasonable. I would fully agree to the strict cancellation policy if I waited a week or, even 3 or 4 days. But this booking's 2.5 weeks out, and, I didn't even have it for 10 minutes before, I got the little ping on my phone that the reservation was accepted. I punched in to double check it, and there it is. So Airbnb isn't always cheap as it looks, and it's usually a pain in the ass. And I'm sad at myself that I'm back in a situation where I'm using Airbnb, going to be using Airbnb so much, but opportunities, other opportunities became available to me, so I'm going to try and capitalize on those, and that requires some Airbnb time. It is what it is. That's what I got. Little 15-minute video on Airbnb and a little personal data and personal security information. How to protect yourself. Protect yourself from Airbnb. And the sad thing is, I've stayed at so many Airbnbs that were just fabulous, and none of this, hijinks. They tell you up front, we need a high def resolution of your passport. We need this, we need that. And I don't like giving that over to every Airbnb owner, but if they've got a couple hundred reviews, that's easier. I did not like the one in Poland where, the guy just has his maid from Denmark or somewhere start texting me on my cell phone. It's like, no, communicate through the app. And why did you give that person my cell phone number? And it was ironic because after that, it was immediately after that, it may have just been timing, I got a ton of spam calls from all different kinds of countries, not just because, I've always been getting them from my home country, my home state. I was getting them from everywhere now. Country codes I had to look up, even some out of Africa. So it is what it is, and sometimes it sucks. But what's your plan? What are you going to do to protect yourself? These are things you want to think about when you're out traveling on the road. And there's some security guys on YouTube who do a great job, and they're way more in depth about it and way more concerned. I don't have that much money, so I'm not too worried about a lot of it. But I am worried about somebody tying up my bank account or my credit card and leaving me high and dry with no money. And no way to get money, or, locking me out of my email, something along those lines, right? If somebody spoofs your cell phone number, it's easy. Once they spoof one cell phone number, right, they can figure out all your other stuff. So that gets, challenging. So that's what I got. Protect yourself from Airbnb, protect yourself, protect your data, and, I know, what's the big deal? They're going to send you a bunch of emails, a couple phone calls, right? It's just a pain in the ass I don't want to deal with.